Hello and welcome to this episode, Scattered Mind, Scattered Soul: How Fear Impairs Your Ability to See Clearly. It's a big title. There's a lot going on in this episode, and I'll take you through a guided meditation to support you with fear. But first, let's unpack this topic. So, have you ever had the experience where you have to make a decision and there's a lot at stake with the decision that you need to make, and you lose your ability to be able to feel clarity, to know that whatever the solution on either end is going to be okay, or you lose completely just your intuition. I can't even tune in to this because I can't get neutral. It's too overwhelming. In many cases, there's an emotional component here. And when we sort of narrow it down, fear is often at the root of decisions that we might need to make, or fear might be at the root of our ability to be able to see clearly for ourselves. Because a lot of the decisions or the choices or the actions that we're taking in this life oftentimes are, I'm going to call them root chakra, which means that they have to do with our existence, or they have to do with our system, shaking up the system, changing the system in some way, or, it's somehow impacting how we are living here on this planet and on this earth and in your daily life. So, change is a factor here, and fear often coincides with change. And when we have to make decisions on anything, it oftentimes means we're going to make a shift in some way, we'll change something. But here's what happens in the energy body is that fear impacts our nervous system. And oftentimes, fear is more deeply rooted in our body, but what the energetic response could be in our body is that we actually can experience a lot of spaciness or spinning in the head or fogginess, brain fog, lack of clarity, sort of a mental experience viscerally can happen. And when that happens, there's an indication that there are emotions occurring. When I can't track well, I can't see well, or I'm not clear, it often means there are emotions present. Fear in particular tends to be an emotion that we will contract around internally, and our brain will try to problem solve solutions so that we don't have that feeling. So we don't feel out of control. Fear is underneath the out of control. Or we don't feel whatever the emotion is that's occurring, because oftentimes there's fear around even having the emotion to begin with. So, fear is a big proponent here to our ability to be able to feel clear inside ourselves. So, in the energy body, when fear happens, oftentimes there can be a sensation of rise in the body. Literally, the soul can rise higher. The energy in the body rises to the head, which creates a little more of a scattered feeling, and which ultimately means that the soul itself isn't necessarily grounded or rooted inside our body, in our belly, or further down in the pelvis or in the tailbone area. We're not grounded in our legs and feet. And instead there's an escalation of energy. And literally, and that includes our soul. Our soul elevates, and then our mind becomes scattered, and our soul becomes scattered in mentally in our body. And so, and therefore, from there, we're impaired from the ability to be able to sense or see or feel clearly. So it's really important for us to recognize our physical responses in our body to fear and what we do when fear happens. For some, we freeze, and sometimes in that freeze, there still is an escalation to the head. The soul still lifts higher, Sometimes there's a fight or flight, which again can mean that our energy escalates and our soul moves higher in the body to take action or to have some form of expression or reaction. We can also shut down and become immobile. And in this case, we might again disconnect on some level, or maybe we go up to the head, or maybe we close down. We become very internal and we become numb or, incapacitated on some level by fear, frozen in that way, or numb. So, different experiences our body may have around the emotion of fear. But what's important for us to recognize is that fear needs acknowledgement, it needs unpacking, and sometimes it needs to know that it's okay to have fear and that it's a human emotion to have. Sometimes we're taught that fear is a bad feeling, anger is a bad feeling, guilt is a bad feeling. Like there's these bad feelings because they don't necessarily feel good, but there's information that these emotions are trying to give us about something in our life. And what's interesting is that if we look at it from a spectrum, fear on one end of the spectrum, love is on the other end of the spectrum. So if we were to think of the opposite of fear, sometimes that is love, by way of saying, this fear is escalating inside me and contributing to worry or panic because I deeply love and value safety, security, trust, stability, my life, my family. I care deeply. I love deeply. And that's why this fear is instigating or is triggering inside me. So, what can we do in these times where fear escalates to the mind, scattered mind? I can't get clear on myself or my intuition, which means my soul is also not grounded, scattered internally, and I'm not able to see clearly or make clear decisions at all at this time in my life. So, here's what we're going to do. So, you can do this with me. It'd be great if you're in an uninterrupted place, free of distraction, but do what you can. If you're driving, that's okay too. But we'll take a moment and just feel your feet. Feel your feet flat on the earth. And feel your sit bones making contact with wherever you're sitting. And as you do so, we're going to start to deepen your breath. So the intention here is that you inhale into the belly, a place with, we'll say, the gut. So between the navel or the lower belly, we'll say up into the base of the ribs. So it includes the navel. But it's an area where there's a lot of neurotransmitters, a lot of gut brain communication. And on an energetic system level, it's a place where we do process stress in the body, or we take in too much from the world. So first, we're going to take a moment just to deepen your breath into your belly and acknowledge that there's a lot going on here that's making it hard to feel grounded or calm or connected to yourself around whatever life decision might be in front of you. But taking some big deep breaths as you inhale, you're expanding your belly like a balloon. And as you exhale, you're going to release any energy or toxins or stress held in the belly that doesn't serve you. It's not yours. And then we're going to add to this a release of any fear that, again, might not be yours. There might be a sense of overwhelm from the world or expectations of others or needs of others. And just for now, we're going to invite you here to inhale in, and on an exhale, let go of the fear that belongs to the world. And you can take a couple deep breaths there. Good. Inhale in, exhale and release. And then as you do so, we're going to envision that grounding cord, which is a tree trunk image secure around the sides of your hips and your low belly and low spine, and allow it to extend deep, deep, deep into the earth. And here's where you're going to start to exhale to release fear. Inhale, exhale, and release the fear in the head, the anxiety in the heart, and this sense of your energy taking a deep seat inside your body as you dump the fear, the holding, the extra, whatever it is that does not serve you. Take some deep breaths and we'll let that go. Let it go down into the earth. And then as you do so, we're going to let your mind unwind and your soul, again, taking a deep seat into your body so that you are feeling more of a sense of presence in your legs and in your feet. So it's as if the light of you inside your body takes a seat inside yourself, right into your tailbone and your sit bones. And we'll take some deep breaths just to let you anchor in lower in the body. And then as you do so, place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and lean back into a waterfall of light. And it's going to be a sense of support from behind you. And your hands are a support to your front body. With your eyes closed, you're going to tune in, and this is your internal navigation system that we're working with. And tune in here to the fear, to the worry that was present. And just take a moment and ask the fear if it has any information for you. And then next, ask the fear what it needs. Fear, what do you need? And then you meet that need, whether it's an image or a feeling or an intention, that you are giving to the fear what it needs. It might need security. It might need you to ground more. It might need permission to just be, whatever it needs. And then as you do so, we'll allow the fear to settle because there's more space for you now. When fear is big, it gets consuming and overpowering your true light in yourself. When we ask the fear what it needs and meet that need, we're starting to say, I am bigger than the fear. So now to the I, to the self, what do you need around this decision that you need to make? And then take note of that and ask um, meet that decision if you can. And then self, soul, intuition. What information can you provide me about my decision? If I chose this way or if I chose that way, what do I need to know? What do I need to know if I chose this way? What do I need to know if I chose that way? And listen to your body. Feel your body. Sometimes the answer is time. And so as you're breathing here and tuning in with your intuition, we're going to create more space for you in this experience by allowing more of your intuition, your soul, your light lower in your body to take up more space. And that might mean your belly, your pelvis, your tailbone, and your heart area, so that the mind is operating from a deeper consciousness, a deeper awareness inside you, a place that is intrinsically connected to your soul, your navigation system, and your soul is centered and grounded. So you can be here as long as you need to for answers that you might want to inquire within about. Ask your soul, ask yourself, soul, how do you feel about this? What do you need about this? And if there's a sense of an escalation of fear that continues or panic, then maybe there's information to know. The soul, that's the response saying, this isn't the right decision for you. The right decision will come. Be patient, or whatever the messaging is. Sometimes the responses and reactions in our body are messages for us to tune in on and see what answers we receive. But we can do that in conjunction with this sense of the soul grounded in the body, more deeply connected into your legs and feet. I hope that this supports you in any way that it might be beneficial, whether it's big decisions that you need to make or just that awareness that, my brain gets overwhelmed when fear escalates inside me, and that this is a practice to help you come back down into yourself and turn to the fear rather than overriding it or ignoring it or trying to get away from it. The sense that I'm leaning into it, giving it permission to speak and for me to meet the need underneath the fear so that my system, your system, feels settled. I hope this supports you in grounding and supporting you in feeling more clear in your mind. Many blessings, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode.